Okay, we have everything plumbed. I am going to take a last look at some things. While the video was off, I went ahead and piped in all of my drain lines coming from the pressure control valves. In order to reduce the number on the return manifold, I looped them in using T-fittings and just made some pigtail connections that you can see back here and also back here, and then the final connection to the return manifold. Now, to make sure there's no pressure in the circuit because of what I'm getting ready to do, I'm going to open up the yellow valve and I am going to turn the knobs all the way in. If you check one of your experiments, the one that involved the sequence valves, in chapter 13 had you do this very same thing. And the reason that we do this is that it creates a kind of a startup procedure for us so that we know what's going to happen. With these valves turned all the way in, they will stay in their normal position. So the sequence valves will remain closed, the reducer will remain open. And what that does is it gives us a specific response when we try to operate the machine the very first time. And so, anyway, those are now turned in. One last look to make sure I didn't forget something, which is always possible. As you can see, this is a extremely involved circuit, and some of you may be wondering, how did he expect us to ever be able to build something like that? Well, I promise you, had we met in lab, had we had done the experiments and worked through chapter 13, it would be time consuming, but you would be able to do it. And you're almost guaranteed to feel like you accomplished something once you've completed this circuit. It is a monstrosity. So I'm going to reclose my yellow valve. Make sure my relief valve is backed off to 0. I'm now starting the power unit. I'm going to set the pressure at about 500 psi. If you read your description, it tells you. We have 500 psi. All right, now I'm going to open up the yellow valve. Notice that we did have a cylinder extend. That could be because the spool in the pilot operated DCV was out of place. And if that is correct, then it should reposition itself once we cycle through the circuit. Now, the clamp cylinder was supposed to extend first, but the drill cylinder was supposed to extend second. It did not. The reason is because the valve that controls it is set too high. So that's this hose right here leading to that valve right there. So I'm going to back the knob off, and we're going to see the drill slowly begin to extend. And there she goes. Okay, at this point, when the cam valve is struck, that starts the retract cycle, but my cam valve is not properly adjusted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my wrench. I've got one cap screw already tightened down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up just one of them and pull that valve forward just enough to where it contacts the cam, and hopefully that will cause a shift to take place. And I'm going to try to make sure that you guys can see this. And it did. So what happened? When the cam valve was struck, the signal was sent to the pilot operated DCV to complete the retraction phase of the cycle. So now we're going to tighten that cap screw down. I believe that the adjustment of the valve is correct. Now the clamp cylinder did not retract, but that is actually a correct outcome because the sequence valve that controls its ability to retract is set at a value that's too high. So now I'm going to make an adjustment on it, and you will see the clamp cylinder retract. And there she goes. Clamp cylinder is retracted. Now, real quickly, I'm going to check the sequence and make sure it's correct. My clamp extends first, followed by my drill. My drill retracts first, followed by the clamp. One more time. First, the clamp, then the drill, then the clamp. Now, one other thing. The clamp is supposed to extend and hold at a pressure which is determined by the description. Okay, in this case, it's 300 psi. So how do we do that? Well, what we have to do is use our input device that gets the whole thing started to make this setting, and you're going to literally have to hold it . Okay, so you're going to have to hold it, and this is going to be difficult because unfortunately my arms are not that long. This is where it would really be good to have a partner, but I'm going to try to manage this. Okay, still trying to manage. Alrighty, ha ha ha. It looks like this is going to be really hard. Alrighty. Let me try something else. You're going to love this. When I improvise, stuff happens. Okay, so I have something I'm going to use to actuate that DCV. The only trick is I have to be able to see